Welcome back to another episode of the GSD Show. I am your host, Mike Arce, and today we are sitting down with Tom Dowd, CEO of F45. With a solid 25-year stint at GNC, Tom's here to walk us through his journey from investor to CEO, as well as leadership style, and his vision for revolutionizing fitness. Tom, welcome to the GSD Show.
Thank you, Mike. Thrilled to be here. Glad to have a platform to talk about F45 and talk to your listeners.
Yeah, I actually want to talk. There's so many questions I've got for you. And I had about like a handful, and then I watched some of your interviews prior to this interview so that I can understand a little bit more about, stuff that you're focused on. And
Sure.
There's quite a few things. So what I want to start with first is your position as CEO, because you're not a founder CEO, you are an investor that got moved into the CEO role. So if you could just share the story of how you moved into this role.
Sure. Well, we put together a group when we met with several of the team members at F45, actually in the back room of the Ellen show in LA. Such a good meeting. I actually had Mark, when he was done filming, come and have the same meeting with me again, all over again, so he could hear it firsthand. We love the concept. We love the energy being around the brands. We love the cultural feel of it. So it checked a lot of boxes, and we were very focused in health and wellness with our investments, with our performance-inspired nutrition, and just obviously my background at GNC, as you mentioned, and then, of course, Mark's fanatical commitment to health and wellness. So loved it, had the meeting. And literally within 2 weeks, we put together a deck and we invested $110 million with our group. So Mark and I invested personal money. I brought friends in to put real money into it, and we came up with $110 million, and we were off and running. And then, of course, COVID hit. So not a fun place to be. We're big in the restaurant business. I'm actually a franchisee as well with Wahlburgers. I invested probably in about 12 or 13 of them. So we're restaurant business and gym business wasn't a fun place to be during COVID. Then we come out, we went public, and the rest is history as far as how the downward spiral happened with just having people running the business that really probably shouldn't have been running the business especially when you're a public company, and just a total respect for capital and having systems in place. The architecture of the business just wasn't sound, and just didn't last. So anyway, to answer your question, how I got here, we had some temporary people plugged in, and then it came to the point where I felt like it was actually my responsibility to kind of step in, knowing this fits my background, and just take the helm and jump in and hit the ground running so we can get traction, rather than take a risk on people who we didn't quite know could actually do the job. So wasn't looking to get on the front lines again, but at some point my ego and just the wanting to get going fast and not have another frustrating 6 months learning,
Right.
Watching somebody else learn the business. So here I am, and I'm loving it.
You talked about some of the things that were frustrating with previous management. What are some of the things that you think are important to running a ship like this that maybe you saw holes in that you figured you needed to come in and plug in?
Yeah. No, I think my natural management style fits in beautifully with the big gaps that we're here. I mean, building trust with people, putting them first before yourself is a key, and letting people know that you're here for the best interest of them. I think that the whole style here was just sell and take a lot of money out, it seemed like, and not really, empowering people, supporting people, having real policies in place that made sense to protect the organization. And, trust is important for everybody, right? So trust is important for people, for members who are signing up, to know that the company is going to be here and continue to evolve and create more value for them. It's very important for the employees. I consider it an honor to work here now, because we have a great business now that's going to ramp up nicely, and it's going to present a tremendous amount of opportunity for the people that are here. So, that's you have to have trust that, they can trust management, that we're here to do the right thing for them. And really, putting them first. And then, of course, from a structural standpoint, the company, all the vendors need to trust you. So I think trust is are probably the first thing that I saw where there was just no structure and trust. So those are the things that I instilled right away. And, when people were out of line or not doing what they should have been doing, we moved fast on them. We showed zero tolerance for people that aren't here for the right reasons, that aren't here to do great things with us. And we're here to do great things that we don't lose.
Yeah, that's a great attitude. I think that was one of the things. I actually got a chance to work closely with F45. I was down at
Yeah.
your HQ a couple different times and met with the leadership team there a few different times. And, I think there was, nice people. I think there were a couple people that I met that were pretty sharp. But I definitely felt like it was the main focus was sell as many franchise locations as humanly possible. And there was a big opportunity in helping existing franchisees be more successful in the business. It's a great concept. To me, F45, and I'm saying this publicly, okay? I've gone into a lot of gyms. We work with over 50 franchises. I know a lot of franchises. To me, F45 is definitely one of the best workouts I've done. The atmosphere is good. The workout's good. The energy's right. It feels good in there. It's a solid workout. I just felt like it doesn't matter how good you're a restaurant guy. I've seen a lot of really good Italian restaurants go out of business and Olive Garden stay in business because the business fundamentals were missing. And if you can get business fundamentals in place with an incredible concept, it's game over. You got to have both.
No, well said. And, listen, all the reasons we fell in love with the business and put real money into it. And now we just put, the group, Kenny Lewis just put another 40 million into it on top of the other 90 million, is because we know it's a great business that was just quite frankly mismanaged. So we love those opportunities. That's how you make money, right? We buy businesses that, have been mismanaged, and then manage them properly. So my battle cry from day one is, hey, listen, everything's fixable here. We can fix the bad spending. We can fix, we can put RFPs in place. We can go after, people that aren't doing what they should be doing. We can correct the people that are being overpaid. We can do all the things that we need to do and put policies and procedures in place. We can do business reviews. We can build budgets and hold people accountable. That's easy. That's what I could do in my sleep. It wasn't done here for the most part. So, now we've changed the organization, which you kind of touched on, from a sell organization to a, support and then sell. If we support the franchisees, well enough, they'll sell themselves. So, just even going back to my retail days, we used to tell people, don't walk in and try and sell people stuff. Find out what their needs are. Ask probing questions, and then you'll be able to introduce things that make sense for them. So here, supporting the franchisees and letting them know that we're here. And I tell everybody, listen, this is subservient management now. It never was before. We're here to work for you and do what's right, to make your business more successful, and really help you grow your business, because without them being successful, we can't be successful.
Right. I mean, well, obviously there's royalties, and the royalties improve as the top line improves. But outside of that, the customer acquisition cost, or the acquisition cost to get a franchisee, what I've seen is anywhere from $8,000 to $12,000 on average through media, or if you're going to work with a franchise, sales rep or sales company. It's significantly better to be able to get a franchisee to be so successful. He could only make sense of buying 4 more locations, right?
Yeah,
So
sure.
So if we're able to really focus on that franchisee going from an average top line of 20K a month to 60K a month, and they're able to
Huge.
hire a manager that's able to run the business effectively without them and continue following the plays, they have all the time in the world. They've got the members, they got the money. Getting a second, third, fourth location seems common sense. It doesn't even seem like you have to sell them. And I know this because we work with a lot of franchisees, and that's like that's what their flag is. Like, we want to get the next location, we get this, but they don't do it unless they're making the money and or have the time.
Yeah.
Can't have 2 80-hour work weeks.
Yeah. No, and that's where trust comes in again, right? So a lot of these franchisees, and one of the reasons I never wanted to be an interim CEO is that I wanted to, come in and let people know I'm here for all the heavy lifting. I'm not here to just, bounce in and out. I'm here for the long run. And like, you need to build a layer of trust with the franchise community to know that, the team is here. We're doing all the right things for them, and to have them build trust to want to grow with us. And the fact that we're well funded, um, you know, builds a lot of trust in itself because again, nobody's putting good money after bad.
Right. 100%. Let's talk about strategy. Obviously, we feel pretty clear on what the strategy might have been previous management. What is there like a strategy you guys have posted up on the wall, or everybody, we're repeating it over and over? Everyone knows this is what we're doing. Focus on this. This is the main thing of the main thing.
Yeah. I guess in a nutshell, without too much internal secret stuff sauce, is AUVs, man. We're just so focused on how do we create more value for the franchisees? How do we create more value for the membership community? How do we, which will translate, of course, to AUVs. So those are the things that really come to mind right out of the gate. For us, all the internal stuff is, cutting costs, create more margin for the franchise community, making sure that, their ROI for the go forward and everything is much more, sound and reasonable. So really, growing that brand to them and really showing that our marketing is working and speaking to, two things, keeping people in the system longer and attracting new members. And we do a lot of really cool things to add value. So if you go back up to the value proposition again, how do we take an already great product and make it even better? So we don't just say, we have egos, we think this is the best thing ever, which was kind of the mentality before. We're challenging everything. So we're looking at, like FSA was a great example. When I came in, everybody liked the workout. We come up with a 2.0, which is a much better product. They get to stay in one location. We can use one trainer. The workout is much more fluid, and the members love it, as do the franchisees. So we're just challenging everything. The F45 workouts, we're just tweaking things, continuing to add value. We're adding a beginner class. We have beginner classes now to get people on the door to check us out. We're adding things like cool downs. So we're adding more value. So if you're just a happy F45 member, you're going to start seeing, and they already are seeing, more value added, properties that we've added to our workout, which makes it even a better workout. We're testing things like Flex, which will be coming out here in January, where we're going to stay open all day. So if you miss your workout, but you still want to come in and go through a run, you can still come in after hours and hit it in between classes. So these are the things that make people just now, because convenience wins at the end of the day, right? So how do we become more convenient? How do we add more value? And all these things, it's not one big home run we're looking for. We're happy to hit singles and doubles, as long as we just keep hitting them and making traction on everything that we do. So, we just joined ClassPass, about 4 or 5 months ago, again, adding value. So we're doing a lot of great things that really are not so tangible to the franchise community necessarily. Like a good example would be, with blogs. We just launched blogs last week. So for SEO, it helps with SEO, brand awareness, gets us in front of more and more people. Those things don't necessarily translate to a franchisee, instantly, but those are things that I know add up and add value to the entire system. We just did our website, redid the website. It's awesome. Much more consumer friendly, easier to find, classes. It's modern looking. Same thing with the app. We're condensing all the apps into one. Again, just putting the effort into the things that help support the system, rather than just focusing on always trying to sell, and just ignore, the things that really make a big difference in the overall experience for our members and our franchisees.
Right. One of the things you talked about is FS8. Was that already around before you got here? And then also, what are some things that actually even explain FSA? Because I don't think a lot of people know about FSA. I just heard about it recently, and I'm pretty new. So if you can just, was it around before? And then also, if you could break it down a little bit.
Yeah, well, it was here. And, again, it's like, it's just kind of, that happens a lot for a lot of companies when they have, another concept, and it's kind of treated like a stepchild almost, and everything's F45. We've changed all that. We know FSH, toning, reformer, Pilates, and yoga all combined. And it's just a fantastic experience. And, and we know that from what the members were saying. So I was like, well, why aren't we like putting our backs into this? Why aren't we really going after it? Same thing with Mora. And, we just love, that's more of a high energy Pilates workout, reformer Pilates workout, but that's what the mirrors of the lights and high energy. It's like, think of it as a spin class. So that's more of like a Miami vibe. We have a Singapore location that's just crushing it. So that's that. Then we have more of the mainline FS8, which is more, right in line where we could put that everywhere and anywhere. That's just a fantastic workout. The members love it. It's the combination of the three that I mentioned. And it's just something that, we had to tweak a little bit just to make it more efficient. And again, the minute we said, hey, listen, let's challenge everything. Let's scrub everything from the bottom up. Everybody started doing it after a bit. We started, I even looked at the cleaning, schedule in the home office, which you were at in Austin, and cut that back. It's like, why are we, everything was challenged here. And so that's, boils down to how do we create more value for our membership? I don't want to hear that, oh, we've always done it that way, or, nobody would ever want to make changes before. That's all gone. This is, new blood. We're here to make things happen. If we could change any little thing, let's do it if it's a better experience for our members.
Right. With F45 and FS8 separately, how many locations exist for each of those globally now?
Yeah, we're about 43 with the FS8. We're just around 2,000 for F45. That's bounced around, and Vibe is growing. I think we have about 3 or 4 coming up here. So we're about 12 of those, but we're going to really get behind those and put some gas on that fire as well.
You said that one's called the Vibe?
Yeah, Vibe. And Bora is the name here. We're going to into the US because we couldn't use the Vibe here, but it stinks because they didn't check the names out, before they rolled with it.
Is Vibe Australia and Vora's US?
Both. Yeah, Vora's US, right? Vibe.
So Vora's the US version of Australian Vibe. Okay.
Correct.
And FS8?
No. And we have one opening up in Manhattan, which we're very excited about here in January. So it's going to be a big volume, high energy killer model for us.
Is that where you're from? I hear the accent. Where are you from?
I'm from upstate New York, Orange County, just west of West Point. So yeah, I have a bit of an accent still.
I'm from northern New Jersey, so I hear.
Oh, okay. Well, my wife was born in Japan.
Where?
Japan, New Jersey, which is North Jersey.
North Jersey. I lived in North Jersey. I lived in the Saddlebrook, Hackensack area.
Okay. She was more up there. Yeah.
Okay. And now the FS8 location, you said 43 of them. Are those all Australia? Do you have some here in the US now?
We do. We have one in Boston that I know that's doing well. We're really excited to continue to grow it. So we're literally just getting behind them, both concepts now, and adding it to the family. And even that with some training to give people really understanding, like that we have to talk about all three when we sell and we talk about opportunities. Because there's a lot of opportunities where they may have only sold F45s, where we can now flip them. So which is a great opportunity because, Pilates is red hot. Low intensity workouts are red hot. So, we have, 3 concepts that hit on all cylinders and are spot on trend. So we just have to take advantage of it and teach everybody to constantly think about all 3.
Yeah. When you look at I'm sure by now as CEO, you got to look at a good handful of franchisees and what they're doing, what they're missing, just to better understand, like, how can you support the franchisees better? With so many things that a business, could improve on in order to be better: marketing, sales, retention, people, whether it's recruiting, leadership, management, holding people accountable. What would you say is the biggest opportunity, the one that you're like, man, if we get this one thing down, if we get the franchisees to really figure this one thing out, everything else is easier. It's like the biggest domino we got to get knocked down.
Yeah. Yeah, like anything, in GNC, we got a big franchise community as well. A lot of times it'll come down to a hands-on operator, somebody that's like in the studio, on top of their trainers, making sure the bathrooms are clean, the windows are clean. We just launched a new signage program. I'm excited about window signs. We had so much wasted, marketing here with F45. I even hated my first fight with the co-founder was over the F45 sign. And nobody knew what it was here in the States. But the arrogance of coming from Australia, and everybody knows it there, doesn't translate over. So I'm a marketer, so I'm about like, hey, how do we tell people, like even with our new armbands here, we got F45 all over with training underneath it. So we're never just doing F45 anymore. So we have to tell people who we are. So we have window signs now explaining, exactly what we do. So when you drive by, you're not familiar with it, you read the sign, you see a picture of Mark Wahlberg, you see, some action photos of people working out. It's all inclusive. I just hired Noah Galloway, who's an Army vet, who's a double amputee, and I've seen on social media. He was on Dancing with the Stars. I just happened to be friends with him. Who's a beast. He's been on the cover of tremendous amount of fitness magazines. He's an athlete, loves the brand, and I put him on as an athlete. I couldn't wait to get him on it. He's so inspiring, and it's great for the people to see that, because part of my problem is, and I'll answer your question, going off the trail a bit, but part of the problem that I saw as being a quote unquote outsider, even though I've been here as an investor 5 years and 7 months as a CEO, that people like, oh, I'd be afraid to jump into that with all these great, young people who are in shape. So, which it really isn't true when you look at our demo. So how do we get more and more people in to give us a try? Because you can go at your own rate. We have amazing trainers who will help you get in the best shape of your life. And showcasing, Noah, I think, does that to a great degree. That if he could do it, anybody can do it. And it really gets people in. But having great, to get it, if I could say anything, of course, if there's some, like if they've closed down a main road to their center or something, that's something that's outside the realm of their control. But having a hands-on operator who's really looking at every aspect of their business and trying to make it better. I mean, when you tour studios and you're in a successful studio, and then you go to one where it's not so successful, and you talk to that operator who probably isn't there, and you have somebody running a business that probably shouldn't be necessarily running the studio, it's a glaring, opportunity. When you don't see window signs, when you see a dirty studio, when you see trainers who aren't really engaging and friendly and creating a culture within the studio, those are the things that we really want to focus on. And then doing the simple things, interacting with your community, trying to push for, reviews, Google reviews, it makes a big difference. Really speaking with your membership base and understanding like how are they enjoying it? What progress are they making? Doing those things, having, I'm seeing a lot of great, holiday parties now with the studios. It's great. Those are the things that build community and enforce it. So if you're not doing all that, and this is what we talked about with community, I just had a group call today with the team. And I talked about a lot of the, competition issues. And I said, listen, we have to push back, corporate this, corporate that. Listen, we've crushed it so far with the things that we're doing from a marketing standpoint, all the things that we're, supposed to do as an HQ with improving the experience, focused on marketing, which is working. Now they have to now say, how do I continue to grow my business by doing the things I'm supposed to do? How do I make my experience better than the competition? Because that's how you win, is by creating a better experience. Because for the most part, everybody's just basically knocking us off and trying to, steal from us and steal from other concepts and then try and sell their story. Listen, we're number one for a reason. We are killing it. All we have to do is make sure that all the operators continue to know and have pride in the brand and the experience that we have, and continue to make it better along with us. Because really, at the end of the day, people are always going to try and knock you off when you're number one. Have at it, especially if they're trying to do it with people that don't work here anymore, who we pushed out for good reason. Now it's about time that we're building a better organization. Let them try and build an organization. Trying to steal from us, it's not going to work in the long run.
Yeah. What are some of those fundamental things that you really want to focus on with your franchisees? Like you're like, guys, we just got to get good at this, please. Get good at this one thing. Learn this. Go through our training.
Yeah, selling is a big part. How do we get these folks really focused on selling and retention? Obviously, keeping them in the system. Creating, again, it ties back to that experience. Are they hands on? Are they there greeting the members? Are they talking to them? Are they finding what their needs are? Are they achieving? Are their members achieving the goals that they want them to? Are they happy with their trainers? You could use examples. It's not a lot here, but there's people that you go into a studio and the trainers are just kind of checked out almost. Their goal isn't to just say, all right, you have 10 seconds left. Their goal is to watch you, make sure you're using the right form to help push you, and make sure that you're really having a great time. And that's probably the one big thing that, you see. And then it comes down to marketing, the window signs. Are they doing the things with going out and trying to cross-pollinate marketing with like-minded businesses, and other folks that are out there that they can, in their community, in the business world. Because listen, you partner up with other retailers, and like we're doing now, we're talking to other folks like Whoop and things like that. They could do that in their world, and how they start engaging with other groups that don't cannibalize and actually add value to their experience. Because again, once you get those folks in the door and get them working out, you get them hooked. I mean, if you get 3 out of 5 people in the door that stay, that's a huge win for you.
Yeah. Getting people in the door is a big one. I remember, so I when I was getting really excited about F45, we want to do a lot of research, and I'll share a video with you off camera later. That was actually pretty interesting. Prior to that, though, I was like, let's go into some of these studios, and I'll tell you, every one of my employees that we went out to these studios, they were coming back saying that was the best workout. A couple of them joined. Like 4.
My point. Yeah, get them in. We'll win them over.
Now, here's the thing that you're probably gonna cringe hearing this as a business guy. I know this is something you're looking to shape, but this is one thing and it's not about the workout. That's great. It wasn't about the coaches. They were fun, right? All the stuff you want to matter was great.
Yeah.
3 of them came back, different locations, said, Mike, we wanted to pay, and they said, just pay next time. Just here. They were like, well, I'm giving you the credit card. Can I just do it now? They're like, oh, I'll just do it next time. And they didn't get yeah. And so I was like, are you sure that's how it happened? And they went in pairs, and they're like, yeah, that's exactly what happened. So that is an example of you care so much about their experience, which is great. But you're uncomfortable around money that you feel like talking about it ruined your experience. But they felt like the experience was ruined because they were ready to go.
Yeah. There's a disconnect. I mean, listen, I'm not a salesman by trade. And, I'm naturally, okay at it, I guess, because I'm just a talker, and I'm a very positive believer in everything I do, 1,000% in. So it just naturally flows for me. But a lot of people just aren't comfortable selling and engaging with people. They're happy doing the workouts, and they're there, but they're not comfortable doing the part that you just said, which is a shame. And we're trying to bridge that gap with training. We're actually going to come out with like a YouTube series, not like a YouTube series, a YouTube series around interviewing successful franchisees within our organization as a kind of to showcase what they're doing, and then talk about the problems that they've had. Everybody has turnover, trainers, employees, the whole deal, competition. How did they deal with it to continue to be successful? Because, very few things just go straight up. There's always ups and downs in any business for the most part. How you deal with it is what makes you successful. So, we're going to talk a lot about that. So I'm really excited about that. So they're going to talk to the trainers. They're going to talk to the franchise operators. They're going to talk about what they do to grow their AUVs. They're going to talk about how they reach out to grow their membership base. And that's going to be very useful for the system. And we have a great guy internally, this guy, Tom S. He's awesome. So we're happy to have, this kind of, again, training and sharing with the organization. And then we just hired 10 new trainers that are going to go out into the field and work with the trainers, work with the franchisees. So now we have more support going out into the field throughout the world. So we have them for different countries that are going to go out. And these folks they went through, I guess I could say, a grueling process to get hired. And they're all internal folks too. So these aren't just people looking for a job that, going to pretend to love F45. These are authentic people that love F45, have been here, they've been crushing it. They're highly recommended by, the team around them. And they're now going to be out there, just like I mentioned, Noah, out there with the other folks who we already had, crushing it. And they're going to be on camera. And, it's so refreshing to see people that are so excited to be a part of the growth and the opportunity, who are just enthusiastic and professional, have ethics, and just here to serve and have fun and be a part of it all. And I love growing stuff and fostering it. That's where in this stage of my life, it's always been a big part of my success, because I'm always putting people first, because I always know that's how I win. So this is just another chapter of doing the same thing and then just watching it flourish.
Yeah. I love that. And earlier you talked about Mark Wahlberg and how you want to leverage, him in the brand because he's a big fan of F45 as well as an investor in the brand. Um, I see that as a huge opportunity for F45 because he's one of a few celebrities that just fit that model, right? Like Mark Wahlberg or guys like The Rock. Maybe The Rock isn't an F45 body style, right? That would be the difference. Mark Wahlberg is like perfect. He's like, I don't think you could have a better guy. How do you leverage a guy like Mark? How do you see him working into the marketing going forward?
Yeah, I mean, you'll see in January we have a lot of content with Mark. We filmed in Vegas. You're going to see, YIF 45 we're building on now. You're going to have Mark interviewing people part of our tagline is life changing team training, and we really are life changing. When you go into a big box gym, and you float around, you do a couple of exercises. I tell a story about my daughter who joined, like fitness up here, and like nothing changed. You just come home and go, oh, I did this. You come to F45 or FS8 or Vibe or Bora, like you will have a workout. You will change when you stick to it. And Mark's going to interview people who are like a middle-aged lady who lost 100 pounds, her whole life has changed for the better. Because we have so many of those stories. So you're going to see Mark interviewing people. You're going to hear Mark talking about just how his life has changed from just working out and how much he loves it. And why we invested, by the way, we didn't just invest because we saw this as just an opportunity. We invested because we knew it was an amazing workout. We were in London, we worked out like mad. We're hitting all the studios, just really testing it out because like everything, we go 1,000%, we do something, but you have to believe in it to do that. So we had to make sure we really believed in it.
Yeah, yeah. You talked about YIF45. I saw you mention this in a different interview, but this is a kind of like a tagline that you've created, and you guys are going to be, I'm assuming, blasting it out at the end of different ads, commercials, different T-shirts, something like that. So if you could just dive into YIF45 and the vision of that.
It's actually rolled out now. It's really just focusing on, it felt like we're not focusing enough on, just like with performance inspired nutrition, like we don't pay people to pretend they like our products. Like we use real customers. Like that's our reviews, are honest marketing, real people. We get probably 20 people a week asking, hey, how do I become an ambassador? Because that's what everybody else does. We do the same thing here. Like everybody whose lives have been changed for the better and who love the workout, we need to tell their story to help inspire other people. And now with all the news about muscle mass and how important it is as you age specifically, we want to capitalize on that. We want to get more people understanding the benefits of building muscle mass through like an all high intensity workout like F45 and Pilates workouts and the yoga that we have. So we need to get more people thinking about how do we hit that trigger to say, whoa, he or she could do it. I could do it. Like I could get in there and do it because, the science is real. This isn't some marketing, hook that really has no merit. I mean, muscle mass is so critical. And I've been in the business a long time between the supplements and just some of our other investments that we're in. And like, this is so refreshing. It's so great to finally see it getting traction with how important it is. Even mental health. Like we're focused on how do we tie it to more mental health? And the holy grail is how do we get, the insurance companies to pay for gym memberships? So I mean, that's really going to be the big win because really, I mean, between mental health and the importance of overall health and muscle mass, I mean, this is something that we should, as a nation, as a world, should be behind 1,000%. So, we could just have, so anyway, back to your question more about the marketing thought. How do we have real people tell real stories to help other people go, that should be me. That can be me. That will be me. Because, in 4 to 6 months later, you'll be glad that you made that change and you got into the studio. So that's what's exciting for me. And listen, not to sound pious, but I love being in a business where you can really help change people's lives. And that's really just powerful. And how do we tell that story more often? And how do we really scream it from the mountaintops? Because it is just an amazing experience when you come in and you stick to it. Oh, I'm down 30 pounds since I joined. I figured, I had to correct my lifestyle and stuff, just start working out more and, just committing more. And, I got more to go. But, listen, this is again, just another great example of, inspiring people to change their life.
One of the things that I don't think this industry does enough of, and it's weird when you look at other industries, whether it's food, whether it's hygiene or whatever, there's a lot of data that's being leveraged. You can't buy a toothpaste without it saying 30% cleaner inside of heating, whatever it is, right? Like they're 30% closer shave or whatever. This industry just doesn't leverage data in an industry where I feel like data is extremely easy to get. And like you losing 30 pounds is great, but like what does the average member achieve? So the average weight loss or fat loss member, what do they achieve in the first 30 days? What does the average strength goal member achieve? And the cool thing, it's so great because it's so easy. If you were to take you got somebody coming in wanting to look like Mark Wahlberg, wanted to get stronger, right? You talk about muscle mass, how important it is right now. You go, hey, look, on average, the members that are F45, we actually increase strength by over 50% in the first 30 days. In fact, 94% of our members increase strength by 50% in the first 30 days. Now, at first, you're going to have every trainer that's listening right now. They're going to say, how can you make a promise like that? How can you make a bold? That's a bold statement. No, but it depends on the vehicles in which you measure. And so if you go, hey, first day here, let's see how many push-ups you can do. If they could only do 10 push-ups, I can get you to do 15 and 30. If you could only do a wall sit for 20 seconds, I can get you to do it for 30 seconds in 30 days. So if you use some of those, I feel like F45 would probably be the first brand in the industry that's, I think, is just being a little lazy with data collection in order to be able to leverage it. And if you're the one who has data, everyone's got to play catch up. You got to gather data to catch up. You can't do that tomorrow, at least ethically.
No, we love that, and that's the direction we're going. We do have the BMI machines, that we do a lot of the trials and challenges, and the BMI machines come out, and we have a lot of the data that you're talking about. We just haven't done a great job showcasing it, to your point, and that's what we're going after. Yeah, well, that's what we're going after with the YIF 45, because hearing it come from actual members whose lives have changed for the better, that's powerful. And that's how, just like reviews, I'm just taking my consumer goods background, selling stuff. And now how do we sell an experience with the studios, which is a lot easier to do because like it's so tangible and so real, and it's awesome. So listen, you're taking protein powders, which is just a food, eat healthier, you will lose weight. But, you have to build muscle mass for bone density, the workouts itself for mental acuity, for everything. I mean, it's such a great combo. So we're thinking about how do we create this hub and spoke model around F45, and when I say F45, I mean it applies concepts as well. And how do we start creating this hub and spoke model where we're educating people, we're inspiring people. So we inspire people with Mark Wahlberg and our membership. How do we start to get them to change their lives? Even if they don't come to us, they make positive life changes. We're happy with that. That's great. So, and then how do we, focus on nutrition? So incorporating like better nutritional choices. What does BCAAs do for you? How does it help with recovery? Joint formulas, pre-workouts. How does it help you have a better workout? So how do we start telling the story with our prepared foods program? If you're on Ozempic or one of these diet shots now, and you've lost some weight, and you said, oh, Jesus, I'm losing muscle mass. Actually, I feel comfortable enough to go into a gym because I have lost 100 pounds. I've lost 50 pounds, whatever. That's also, we want to get those folks into the studios now because why not? Now they need to start now replacing what they've lost with muscle mass and get tone. A lot of people, the old school, which you don't really have to battle with anymore, where women think they're going to look like all jacked up. It's not, it's not that easy, and you have to really work hard to do that. But strengthening your bones and creating lean muscle mass, dense muscle mass, that's going to be so critical as you age, and how important it is for you for mobility, for longevity, for quality of life. And that's where people really have to understand and start researching and understanding just how critical that is as they age. And when I say as they age, starting in your 20s probably, because that's when you build the habits that change your life and keep you in it. Like I have a 25-year-old and a 22-year-old. I'm always harping on to keep working out. My son was a state champ in Taekwondo. My daughter's into horses and working out and everything. So keeping them in it and building those habits is so critical, because those are things that are going to stick with them their whole life. I mean, I lifted weights like an animal my whole life, just got big and bulky. Now it's about, as you get older, how do I, get less bulky and thinned out, and still maintain my muscle mass and still lift and work out. And that's why F45 is just perfect.
Well, one of the things you talked about was supplements. So it sounds like you're going to be adding supplements at a heavier, like you're going to have a heavier focus on supplements with F45 now. I know earlier you mentioned retention and just really focusing on keeping more of the members that you've got. One of the cool things, and this is a study that is a couple years old, so keep in mind, even though it's 2 years outdated, it's technically pretty relevant because it's something that would be applicable in any decade prior. But when you can get members in this industry, when you get members to buy 2 or more products outside of their initial purchase, which would be the membership, they have an 80% likelihood of having a higher than average retention rate. So the great thing about that is you increase the value per member in 2 ways now. Number one, you get them to spend more money with you. But because you created this habit loop, once you take a supplement, you feel like working out. And sometimes if you don't take your supplement, you feel like you're wasting your workout, right? It's this combination. It's really kind of cool. But now not only are you getting members to spend more, but you're getting them to stay longer. And if there's anyone you want to stay longer, it's the ones that spend more. So it's a perfect spiral.
That's right. Yeah, that's very insightful and correct, by the way. Yes. We understand that even with our Lionheart purchasers, and their lifetime value is much greater than they're actually wearing the straps and part of it. But yes, when you're involving them more in the life cycle of a perk with purchases more, and again, you become a hub and spoke where you're supplying them with the things that they need. And like with PI, it's all natural. We give back to charity. That's how we started as a vehicle for charity. How do we become the total solution headquarters for health and wellness? And that's really the goal. We want to be the total solution headquarters, and we don't want it to be anything that's not organic and healthy and right for them. And that's why, we're really focused on data, like with Whoop and Lionheart, other partners that we're talking to. How do we incorporate, more things that will empower them and help their lives improve? And how do we become the folks that they can trust and turn to help them with their journey? Because we call it wellness, health and wellness journey. So it always starts with, either I used to go to a gym, I used to work out, I stopped, I kind of half-assed do it. Now I need to get back into it. How do we help inspire that, be a big part of why they did it, and then keep them in it longer by giving them the things that they need?
Yeah, I agree. You a big reader?
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's one book you wish every F45 location read, every owner read, because you feel like that would help them with everything else, is there one book where you're like, dude, just read this and this will start a great habit for you?
Wow. And that's, I guess Good to Great's probably the one that jumps out first, but I think the Tom Peters, Nancy Austin book, A Passion for Excellence, is probably one of the first great business books I read. And Tom Peters was so prolific, but so spot on with everything. And, so I think those 2 books are probably something that really are amazing. If you're going to name one, I guess I'd have to say, Passion for Excellence. Just because that, I guess I have a soft spot. It was the first book that really got me into reading about business constantly. You're just always trying to, if you look at if I was in my home office doing this, you'd see my office is stacked with books that, I've read in some cases 2 or 3 times. So yeah.
That's the best way to do it. That's the best way.
Yeah, because you forget. A lot of it's redundant. You realize you never realize in your psyche that you're doing these things. But it's always good to reinforce and go, oh, that's maybe where I learned here, how it's sunk in. And I have been doing that right, because here it is, in the book.
Well, and sometimes a piece of advice in a different opportunity sounds like different advice. Like if you were in, let's say, GNC and whatever challenges you were working through at that time, that advice would have been applicable in one way. But now with F45, and maybe now you're looking at this global thing that you're working on, that same advice, you're looking at the wisdom behind it. You go, you know what, though? I can take that same thing and I can apply this, but it's a different solution, but it's just got the same root,
Yeah. And I told somebody recently, I said, the guy called the plumber, a GSC guy, he came in, his furnace wasn't working. The guy stood there for, a minute, grabbed the hammer, banged the spot, and all of a sudden the furnace started working. And the guy gave him a bill for $500, and the guy was, that was 5 minutes, $500. He goes, no, you paid me $500 for the 30 years of experience and know where to hit the hammer. A lot of that is, when like I think of that a lot in my role now, because a lot of this stuff is so second nature to me. A lot of people here at F45, like change is, uncomfortable for a lot of people, and just newness and who's this guy, change, and oh my God, what's going on? We buy and invest in businesses like this is natural. And I survived 3 leveraged buyouts and foreign ownership and taking the company public just at GNC. You've been around. I mean, surviving 1 leveraged buyout is, big. So I have a lot of battle scars, but every single battle I won because, guess what? Most people, when they went through a leveraged buyout, you put through a major league boot camp. They basically try and get rid of you because they think they can do better. So to survive all that was a really, I mean, I met some amazing people that it taught me a lot. So those are some of the learnings that I bring here to the party. And really every investment, everything I look at, I can get there pretty fast with everything because I've been there. I've seen it. I'm so invested in so many different things. We have 13 active investments now. And with working with Wahlberg, I mean, for the last 10 plus years, my whole job was looking at deals, vetting them, and just grinding through, should we be here? Should we not be here? What can we do with this? And then I'm investing with other venture capital groups like Kano's Capital, like, Nutrisystem, Genix, and things like that. And we owned Slim Fast at one point. So, I'm still very active in everything we do. And I was very busy before I took this job. But, again, this is so much more enjoyable to me because it's so tangible and fulfilling. It really just brings back all the memories and feelings that I used to have at GNC. I mean, like within a week, I was back in the saddle after the first, I guess I was shell shocked for a week or two. then I just went right into the same mode, always on my phone, always calling people, always thinking, always just waking up in the middle of the night with ideas, jotting them down. It's just, we got right back into it.
Second to last question, because I got a good last one for you, but the second last question for you. With the next set of franchisees that come in, has there been any type of analysis done on the ones that are winning and losing to determine what makes the right avatar to make sure that we disqualify people early on and protect the front door to increase the likelihood of a successful franchise?
Yes. The simple answer is better vetting and better real estate strategy. So those two things combined will solve a lot of problems. Listen, even at GNC during the go-go years, I think we got 8,600 locations. There was under 800 when I started. I mean, we were opening up 5 a day at one point for years. And that's when things were great. You could print money and our margins are great. We didn't have competition. There was no real Amazon. But then things changed, right? And all of a sudden, Costco was in the business selling the tremendous amount of supplements and everything else. So now that, we're here and we're more structured and we have policies and procedures in place, so we start with, listen, you might have the money, but if you're not right for the system, we're going to say no. We have the power to say no. And we're not going to recreate problems that have been done in the past. And we're going to really control the system and the process. And then we're going to support them better. We're going to train them better. We're going to make sure we're out in the field. We're going to make sure that we're giving them the tools, like the playbook, like, here's how I engage. Here's what I do when I open my system. And then we're going to follow up. We're going to have people visit them and make sure that they're doing the right things. And that's going to be a very critical, element of our success going forward.
Yeah. If there's a way you can measure grit, that's a big one.
Yeah, grit. Yeah. But, if you're betting it properly, people are like produce, right? You never know until you get home and open it up, right? Even hiring people. Best interviews in the world don't turn out so great. Sometimes the guy has, and you end up hiring him and you're like, wow, this guy was super talented. You never realized they're a girl. You just never know. Same thing with franchisees. I mean, it's because, listen, it's like any business. Like, you have to work it. You have to stay on top of it. If you have the attention to detail, the eye for detail to say, well, I've walked into studios and the front doors are filthy with finger marks. And yet you have a pretty good operator. This is a bad experience walking into the door with smudges everywhere, like, and your windows are dirty. So some people have, like Abraham Lincoln said, the greater the strength, the greater the weakness. Sometimes you have to open people's eyes and go, hey, listen, you have to look at the whole picture. I used to stand back even in retail and walk them into the parking lot and look at their store and say, how does this look? Are we missing sides? Are we missing, are your POPs, your floor displays angled properly? Can I see it from a store? Can I see it when I walk by? In New York City, we'd walk by as outside and go, what am I looking at when I look in? I'm looking at the back of, displays, and we should be looking at the front to pull people in. So doing those things, are important to teach, operators to do, because so many of them, especially here, are so in love with the brand and working out and working with the people, but some of them don't have that skill set to look at the business as a whole, because everything registers with members, especially new members when they come in. If the bathroom is dirty, that's not a good experience. But they say, oh, but my workout's great, my chair's great. I know, but let's step it up a notch and make the entire experience better.
That coming from the restaurant world. The restaurant world knows. Restaurant and hospitality in general, if the bathrooms aren't spectacular, the attrition just mounts.
Well, Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's?
I watched the founder and read his story, yeah.
But yeah, so he would literally go into the restaurants, and if the bathroom was dirty, the manager was fired. Didn't care if it was the #1 producing restaurant in the world. The guy's been in it 30 years. If that bathroom was filthy, that manager was gone. And that's the type of kind of things that you think about, really add up to a great experience. And he knew that, and that was an extreme example. Even Ed Hardy here, who started 84 Lumber, he was like one of those guys that, and I love this story. And I remember hearing this to the GNC, it was Dick's Sporting Goods, GNC, and those guys were kind of the three power players here. We share a lot of employees. I remember hearing a story about how he was, would go crazy if you ever said the word hopefully in a meeting, and basically your days were numbered. And then he used to drive around a parking lot and see if you had a bumper sticker on your car. You can't mandate that, but he was like a press on. And I remember thinking, I actually like that, because like it's his business and he's passionate, and he doesn't want to hear about hopefully. He wants to hear about people that are doing it. Like, don't say hopefully to him. And they're like, so, and some people in the room are like, oh, leave that. I'm like, yeah, I can. I love that. And he should want people to put a bumper sticker. I have very expensive, nice cars, and I put my stickers on my cars. And I even sneak them on my wife's kids' car and kids. Everybody has an F45 sticker on their car now. Didn't even ask this. Took my alcohol, wiped down a window, and stuck it on. So,
right.
I always, listen, if we're in it to win it. We're going to do every little thing helps.
Well, we coach our gym owners on is like, one of those things is, look, you should either wrap your car or have a wrapped car or have the sticker on. And I don't care if there's a grocery store down the street from you. Go to the one that's in the same shopping plaza as your studio. Park there. Just use the car as a billboard.
Exactly right.
Go there. That your home and everything close to you is irrelevant at this point. Go to what's close to the business and hang out there.
See, that's the kind of logic and common sense. Even me, like recently, like the pylons, we didn't have it. There's 3 open spots that we weren't on the pylon. And I go to the, how come you're not on a pylon? Oh, I didn't realize there was space. Like, that's like, it doesn't mean they're a bad operator. Again, it's just teaching them to challenge everything. Because you should have noticed. You should be looking. You should be thinking about every opportunity. Like, literally with the back of my car is like, when I'm in traffic, in my mind, I'm happy somebody behind me will be a customer, hopefully. Like, that's how mental I am, I guess.
Now,
what makes me great at business doesn't make me good to live with necessarily, because I'm so obsessed with everything.
Well, speaking about how mental you are, I think you and I share a similar thing. It's around competitiveness. I can't help but I hear the amount of competitive drive that you've got with stuff like, that's why we don't lose. We go 1,000%. Is it fair? Is my assumption fair? Would your family members or your friends say you're a pretty competitive guy?
Yeah, I'm not a sports guy.
I know you're collaborative too, but
yeah. No, listen, especially when I'm a business guy. I grew up I grew up in a family business. My father had supermarkets. I take things very personal, and I just love business more than anything. So I guess that's where my competitive kicks in. I love selling stuff. I love building stuff. I love seeing people around me, do well and succeed and just grow and prosper. That's my That's my competitiveness. And yeah, I don't like to lose. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't like to lose investments. That's really for sure. So yes, I guess the answer is yeah.
So if that's the case, then this question, which is the last question, this might be
Okay.
my favorite question. It's also my most hated question. I hate thinking about it. I also it's not out of me. So what I've learned is when I say stuff like, "How can I do this better?" I do okay. When I ask myself in a different way where it drives the competitiveness out of me, I get a lot more done. So here's a question I've got for you. You've been CEO now for how long?
7 going on 8 months.
Going on 8 months. All right. In a hypothetical world, but it's got to be real to you. If someone else came in and took that job 7 months ago and you found out they did it a lot better than you, what do you think they would have done?
Oh, whoa. That's boy. I don't want to sound arrogant, but I really, as I think about some of the people I probably want to plug into this, I don't think they would have had the right skill set and been hard enough to do things we did as fast as we did. Um, whoa.
It's a fictitious person, but they have to exist in the
Yeah.
example because so the reason this works for me is I can't stand the idea of someone doing my job better than me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I really can't think of something we missed. I mean, maybe because, I have a lot going on. Maybe some things just haven't happened in the time frame that I wanted. So maybe, somebody with maybe, I really don't know. I mean, we've made a lot of progress too. Maybe gone after the competition harder, I don't know. I think we were so proud of the progress we made, and we've made it faster than I even thought. I think maybe in the beginning, I put up with some things I probably should have with some of the top people before I moved. Maybe I should have moved a little faster. Maybe, honestly, probably the biggest thing is when I first started, because we're a remote business, for me, it was hard to even know names and who does what. So maybe a younger person would have been more on top of who does what and what their names are. But that's probably the only thing that I still struggle with. And some of the technology stuff, like these guys are so fast and so on top of emails and, the team I'm really proud of. I mean, these guys, I haven't even tapped into my Rolodex, really. There's not one person here that I hired beyond Noah Galloway from an executive standpoint, because even though we made changes, the people that are here deserve to be here, and they're performing and really excelling. So I'm really happy with that. And the attitudes are amazing. So that probably doesn't answer your question.
Oh, that's okay. Hey, listen, it's not an easy question to answer. And so, but I challenge you. This is something I do. I do this thing called thinking time. I stole it from Keith Cunningham. And, but I use my timer as a cigar. So the idea is no technology. You can't go out there with a phone or a watch or a laptop. You could bring a calculator as long as it's not digital. And my cigar is my timer. It's about 40 minutes. And I've got the same pen and pad, and I ask myself one question, and that one question is usually the thing that helps remove the biggest constraint. And every once in a while, when I have a hard time thinking of what the biggest constraint might be, the question is, if someone do my job better than me, if they were to grow the company to X instead of Y, what would they have done? And it takes about 5 to 6 minutes to get the wheels turning. And then once you're like 15 minutes in, the pen can't keep up with your brain. And it's pretty interesting stuff. So it's a good way, good exercise for me, at least.
I love it. Well, I'll tell you this. I'm hypercritical of myself, and always that's what wakes me up in the middle of the night, that I missed something or forgot to talk about something or just thought of something and then forgot. So those are things that, probably did that. And even like podcasts, I won't even re-listen to myself because I'm hypercritical and I hate the way my voice sounds. I don't smoke cigars or anything. I'm just raspy and, and I just, but yeah, so. But I like that exercise, and I'll definitely keep that in mind, Mike.
I love it, man. Well, hey, Tom, I know we're a little over, so I'm just going to say thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm excited to see the journey that F45 is about to be on under your leadership. I'm excited to see some of the changes in FSA and some of the other brands that you've got now coming to the U.S. and making a splash here as well. And for everybody watching and everybody listening, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you. Appreciate it.